Hi, I'm Amy Keller, Intimacy Coach, and I'm going to talk about what intimacy is, why it's so hard to talk about, and what I do to approach it. Intimacy is the space between you. You see, you're two completely different people. And there's always a space between you. And sometimes that space between you can feel warm and fuzzy, like a wonderful place to be. And other times it can be like magnets pressing against each other where you just can't quite get together. And other times it can feel like flames in between there. It can feel like knives in between there. Other times it can feel like heart throbs in between there. So, what is that in that space between you? How does it feel between you? That's what intimacy is. The intimate connection where you can feel connected even when you're not physically together. That's what the real intimacy that we're going for is. Well, it can be so hard to talk about because intimacy is the foundation of your relationship. It's the whole reason that you got together. The physical intimacy is an expression of that space between you. It's that thing that has you connected, and when you have that space between you where there's a good connection, then you feel like into me, see, you can completely open up and show yourself to your partner. And that's the intimate connection that you want. Well, and that's the reason that you got together. It's the foundation of your relationship, as I said. And the reason why it's so hard to talk about is because since it's a foundation, you've built your whole relationship on top of this foundation. And we build a life together. And that's why talking about it can feel like you're about to blow up your whole life. It can literally feel extremely dangerous. And so currently, if you think that there's an issue in the intimate connection in your relationship, you go to a traditional talk therapist and you find yourself in a scary position sitting with a therapist and having a talk about it, talking about your issues. Maybe you're in a therapist's office talking about your issues for an hour. I know that for me it felt like shining a light on the air between us and seeing nothing but the dust floating. And it felt like there was so much to clean up, it was insurmountable. Like we would just need an air purifier to be running 24/7 for 20 years. And then if we do try and talk about it, then we're unpacking a whole lifetime of baggage, and it is really not sexy, and it doesn't make me feel more connected. It makes me feel empathy, it makes me feel compassion, but it doesn't make me feel more connected, more intimately connected, like I want to just show myself and lean into my partner. And that's the connection that we're looking for. So it's my belief that we have to feel that kind of connection before we even start talking about it. Because if we start talking about it, it feels like we're making a dangerous connection. Like if I say the wrong thing or I hear the wrong thing from my partner, it feels dangerous. Maybe you've had this experience. Watching my partner try to have emotional language was practically painful. And I literally went, I want someplace where we can just take us by the hand and make us feel connected. Take this hand here and this hand here and go lean into each other. And I start by building the connection. This space between you, going back to this space between you. Words can be unsafe for people. As I said, one person might not have, well, it's usually the case in relationships. One person has an emotional language and one person doesn't. One person thinks that we have to talk about it. And one person's like, ah. And what I say is that most of the words that are about those emotions, most of those words that we need to fill those spaces with are too hard to say, or they aren't really words for them. And you can't fill that space with words, because if there's fire in there, you need to fill it with water, and that's just going to create steam. And then how do you get rid of the steam? What you can fill it with is heartstrings. And is the sound of heartstrings. It's just a simple yes sound. Mm-hmm. And it's a sound that we can feel. When you say mm-hmm, your vibration actually fills the room. There's more about that in other videos, but it's the heartstring sound. So the intimacy is the space between you. And you both want to lean in and feel closer. One of you might be arguing about it, and resentments are the walls that you put up so that you can't lean into each other. You start filling that space with all kinds of resentments. And it takes a lot of work to keep those resentments standing. It's easier. It's so much easier when you actually build connection. And that's what I help with. So, intimacy is the space between you. It's hard to talk about because it's the foundation of your relationship. And talking isn't necessarily the best thing to do to feel intimately connected. Sometimes the best thing to do is to assure each other that you're not going to talk, which is a great thing to do while you're just making that sound, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. That's a good way to connect. That's how I approach it. Contact me for a consultation. Leave me a message. Leave a comment. Let me know what intimacy is for you and what talking about it feels like for you. Subscribe. Share this content with somebody else. I look forward to connecting. See you soon.